they've just got to win those games. It's as simple as that.
That's not a team that wants to go 0-2.
He is officially now on my trade block.
It's worrying times if you're in Kansas right now.
There's something going on there where he might be cooked for the rest of the season. Welcome back to the Early Hours podcast, where we're going to start off the episode today by doing a simple mathematics exercise. So everybody get your fingers out. You can all play along in the comments as well. I just need you to tell me which number is bigger, okay? There's two options here. The first number is 8.9. The second number is 36.5. Now, Oliver, you can tell me which number is bigger out of those two.
Well, if common sense applies, I'm going to have to go with the latter. Am I right?
It is, yeah. Common sense might not apply with your predictions. 36.5 was Jamar Chase's score in fantasy versus a talented Brian Thomas Jr., who you said last week would not only outperform Chase, but the Jags would steamroll the Bengals. Are you thinking about taking back what you said about that?
Absolutely not. I think I get a out of jail free card with the fact that Burrow's gone down. But hey, let's not spoil anything. We'll come on to it a little bit.
That's true. We will get on to Joe Burrow and the Bengals later in the episode. But starting off the episode with the first game of week 2, and that's the Commanders-Packers. A great win for the Pack there, 27-18. Hey, we should start the season more often at home is all I can say.
Yeah, unreal. Don't want to linger on the Packers too much. It feels like a distant memory considering it was Thursday. God, these weekends are flying by. But no, I stayed up to watch the game. I was up till the crack of dawn, waiting to see the end of it. Even stayed up for garbage time just in case we got the odd extra touchdown. We were firing. But yeah, it's that defense again. Really, really strong performance. Micah Parsons now in his first 2 games as a Packer, 90.2 pass rush grade, 10 pressures, 1.5 sacks, and a 25% pass rush win rate. He is flying. Equally, cannot go leave that game without talking about the secondary. Unbelievable. The DBs, Nixon, Valentine, Nate Hobbs, combined for 10 targets against the Commanders. They only allowed 2 receptions for 16 yards. That's 16 yards. All 3 of them kept Jaden Daniels as a combined team to 39.6 passer rating, which is effectively like Daniel just chucking it in the mud the entire game. So yeah, it's a dream time to be a Packer at the minute.
Isn't it just? And what's amazing about those 2 games as well is, the Lions and the Commanders are not pushover teams either. Both of them reached a playoff last season and we made them look average, and that's putting it nicely. Going on to probably one of the more focused on games of week 2, Chiefs-Eagles, the Super Bowl 59 matchup. Only a field goal separating the two, 17-20 for the Eagles, but drama as Travis Kelce audibly saying on the field, like, what is going on? Getting frustrated he wasn't getting any receptions, and when Patrick Mahomes did want to go and throw to him, he fumbled the ball, causing a turnover that let the Eagles go down for about 70 yards the other way. What is going on with that Chiefs team? This is the first 0-2 start for Mahomes. Since his tenure at the Chiefs. It is not a good time to be a Chiefs fan.
Absolutely not. It's worrying times if you're in Kansas right now, and it's funny you should mention that. That interception. Can't leave this segment without talking about the rookie Andrew Makuba, probably butchering his name, but yeah, absolutely unbelievable performance. So yeah, took it away from Kelce. Kelce just looked rusty in my opinion. The Chiefs looked pretty poor in general. Philly actually trailed them in total yardage, but yeah, they made more crucial plays, they made that crucial turnover, and they executed in those clutch moments, which put the Chiefs on the back foot. I mean, that was my takeaway. That's what I could see. But yeah.
Smells, if you are that Eagles side, you've beat the Chiefs now twice within 8 months. Do the Chiefs now just become just another side now that the Eagles are beating them left, right and centre, or was that still quite an important win for their campaign?
It's still an important win. Andy Reid's Chiefs are Andy Reid's Chiefs. They're not the Chiefs that they were before. I think everyone could understand that. And, you look at the receivers that are throwing to a touch on it last week, but it's just, it's unrecognisable from what it was. But the Eagles still look pretty good. I think it was a closer game than what a lot of people thought it was going to be. I think fair play to the Chiefs for that, but still 0-2, that doesn't help. But, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley still doing their thing. Devonta Smith looked quite good. AJ Brown, I think, obviously Jalen Hurts has forgot he's on the pitch most of the time. But yeah, the Eagles still look good. They're still, one of the top teams in the NFC for sure. But yeah, the Chiefs have a lot to do, and again, they need to start picking up wins. I think the fans are starting to be a little bit more frustrated, as we mentioned last week, and yeah, it's what, 6 in a row now, including the pre-season, which obviously doesn't count too much, but still, that winning feeling is addictive, and it's something they've not felt in quite a while.
Well, the only thing to come out of that game last night was a new Taylor Swift song. She's now reworked one of her songs with new lyrics that said, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 0-2. I also relate to that. Patrick Mahomes, I'm feeling the struggle. It's 0-2 for me in fantasy for me as well. One reason for that is Joe Burrow not firing on any cylinders, under projection last week, went out now with a toe injury, only played half of the game yesterday. That is projected for up to about 3 months on the sidelines for Joe. I might now have to bring in Dan Jones for Joe Burrow, which is not a sentence I thought I would be saying coming into this season, let me tell you. But how big of a blow is that for Cincinnati that Joe Burrow is now out?
Oh, it's massive. It's pivotal for their season. You'd arguably say that the season's over. Which is a dramatic line, but it really is. They're in one of the toughest, if not the toughest divisions in football. They're going to have pressure from divisional opponents. The Browns actually even look pretty good. We saw them struggle in week 1 against the Browns, but yeah, it's absolutely devastating. And 3 months, that's going to take you right up to the sort of stretch leading into Christmas. And by that point, you'd probably argue that you know, we're starting to see teams not making the playoffs. They're likely to be one of them now, if you ask me. On the other side of the ball, yeah, it looks interesting, the relationship between Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence, my pick from last week, it seems, from the Boom or Bust segment. But yeah, he was sort of waving him away and saying, no, I'm not listening to whatever you've got to say for me through my headset. So yeah, it was a really, really weird game for both sides. But at least since he managed to pick up that crucial win, it's really important.
Yeah, massive blow for the Bengals there. You know, we're going to come up against a Bengals side without Joe Burrow. The Steelers also coming up against the Bengals in week 7. Joe Burrow nowhere to be seen. The Bengals could be cooked. But does that give the Steelers an opportunity to completely ransack their division?
I think so. I'll probably let Matt speak about the other side of the ball with the Seahawks, but closer to home for him and that division. But yeah, absolutely, it's a gift on a plate for Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin. It really gives them an opportunity to secure what you'd expect would be that second spot in the AFC North. And yeah, you mentioned it, they're playing in week 7. They've just got to win those games. It's as simple as that. But tough day out yesterday, Matt. Didn't go to plan, did it, for the Steelers?
For the Steelers, no. I mean, I think it was very even after 3 quarters, wasn't it? We've said it a couple of times already this year that you've got to play the whole 4 quarters. I think Sam Darnold pulled through at the end, whereas Aaron Rodgers made a mistake or two. Kenneth Walker III looked really good, and we finally saw the Seahawks really utilise Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp, which was really cool. Yeah, we've been waiting for that sort of, obviously, double threat on the receiving core since week 1. We didn't really get it against the 49ers, but they looked really good yesterday. As I say, Kenneth Walker back to his best and kept Zach Charbonnet on the sidelines. I'm sure Oliver's new running back room didn't like that, but yeah, Kenneth looked good. And the Seahawks are a half-decent team this year. I expect them to, compete for, at least 2nd or 3rd in the NFC West. I think everyone else seems to have started really well. Every other team's 2-0, but obviously that won't last. And yeah, I thought they looked good last night, the Seahawks.
It was just quickly, I know we only briefly touched on it there, but after the showing in week 1 against the Jets, it was there's no two ways about it. It was a regression for Aaron Rodgers this week. Yeah, just limited in yardage. Yes, he found DK Metcalf for a touchdown, but other than that, there was no real highlights. Costly turnovers, took a lot of pressure from sacks and the Seattle defense. I think it was 3 sacks that he took. So that's, he's on course for nearly 10 sacks already in 2 weeks. It's not good news.
And sticking with the NFC West there, Smells, how did Mac Jones get on at the helm with the 49ers against the Saints?
Yeah, Big Mac was good. Obviously, his first... Big Mac is great. The man with the least aura in the league, but here he is. It looks really good. It's his first start in a while. Obviously, had postseason. He didn't really get a chance at the Jags last year, but 26 for 39, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also went mobile a few times, which we haven't really seen before, and I think he just enabled the offense pretty well, linked up with McCaffrey really well, both in the receiving and running back core, and yeah, really brought Joanne Jennings into the game, which is what we needed to do. Did enough to get it over the line is what I'd say, because the Saints were half decent. Spencer Rattler, whilst I think really quite shaky at times, threw really well. Alave looked half decent. Joanne Johnson looked really good in the end zone. So I think it was a game we needed to win. It's the game that we did win, and that's all Matt Jones needs to do for a couple of weeks. So yeah, a success from my end.
Just because you've seen one QB with a cool nickname, Indiana Jones, in the league, doesn't mean that Mac Jones can get his own cool nickname with Big Mac. I think he needs to earn that
If he
one.
keeps getting the wins, mate, he can be called whatever he wants.
He was true to the name. He had the Big Mac. He had the sauce. So,
Get out. Get out of here.
Nice.
Right, look, elsewhere in the league, some other big scores. The Dolphins 27, Patriots 33, 2 special teams touchdowns in 12 seconds there. That is definitely a moment that goes down in red zone history. Colts 29, Broncos 28, a dramatic ending to this game. The Colts, all they needed was a field goal. They missed their first attempt, but a flag on the field made it so that they were able to go down the field another 15 yards, and then they were able to convert and get the dub there. Smells, what is going on with that Colts side? They're looking pretty good.
Yeah, do you know what? I want to give them a little bit of credit. You know, the fans have been through it over in Indianapolis over the last 15 years or so. It's the first time I think it's since 2009 they've gone 2-0. Last week it was the first opening win in 13 years. I think they look good. I think they look really good. The Broncos we had as a sneaky side to kind of go the whole way, but Daniel Jones looks really good. Jonathan Taylor, wow, 25 carries, 165 yards. Tyler Warren, 79 yards off 4 receptions.
Even Pittman looked really good. You know, he's just another weapon for Dan Jones. I can't believe we're saying it, but Dan Jones looks really, really strong. Like he's true to the Indiana Jones thing. He's cracking the whip out there. It's really, really good. So, yeah,
he's utilising a lot of guys. He's got Josh Downs as well, performing well. Jonathan Taylor as well in the past game. He was immense last night, and they've beaten a good Broncos side. Like we say, Bo Nix played well. Yeah. He had one interception, but threw really well. J.K. Dobbins looked really good, and they're utilising the 3 receivers over there. Troy Franklin, and also Marvin Mims Jr. got a few, but yeah, they look good. They look good, the Colts, and long may it continue. I think they deserve it.
Mims Jr. made an awesome catch, by the way. Really cool catch. Really, really cool touchdown.
You see as well, like there was a really cool throw and catch from Cam Ward as well. You see how he was like running behind himself and he kind of scooped it.
Across the.
That was amazing.
Man, he looks good.
Sorry, keeping back on topic. One person who didn't get any love last night was Cortland Sutton. 1 reception for 6 yards. So Bo Nix definitely picking and choosing who gets the ball in that line.
It's weird. It's Sutton, McLaurin. There's so many this year that are like these outliers. And for fantasy, it is making it an absolute nightmare for managers. But anyway, yeah.
Well, we alluded on to the Titans game just briefly, but going back to it, 19-33, the Rams coming out with a win there. Strip sack for the rookie Kurum there, providing a pivotal turning point in that game. And then we go on to something that we shouldn't really linger on, but the Lions 52, Bears 21. Wasn't the return to Ford Field that Ben Johnson wanted there, but hey, look, that at least gives the Lions some credit after losing to us and the Packers last week. They are not a pushover side. They lost to the Packers in week 1, if no one knew. But no, 52 points, putting it past the Bears there. That is not a scoreline you want to wake up to in the morning. And then, Smells, a game you looked forward to in last week's episode, Cowboys 40, Giants 37. That was the first game this season going to overtime. Did the Cowboys deserve that win?
I think everyone bar Cowboys fans probably were cheering for the Giants. So it was a bit bittersweet for everyone, if I'm honest. Sorry, Dallas fans. Obviously, I would say they probably don't deserve the win just because, you want, the underdog team to do well, the Giants. Not that the Cowboys are fantastic at the minute, but man, I mean, Russell Wilson, he was just throwing bombs. I think it's the most yards he's thrown ever in his career. A very illustrious career at that. 30-41, 450 yards for 3 touchdowns in regulation time. Obviously, threw that massive interception in overtime, which is just such a shame. But yeah, him and Malik Neighbours, and then Wan'Dale Robinson as well, let's not forget. But just the connection between them is so good, or it was yesterday anyway. So obviously that's paying off for them. They look really good. To be fair to the Cowboys, Dak played pretty well. Javonte Williams, Wow,
Yeah.
he was fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Even
Just keeps going, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks
just
great.
Keeps going. He makes the contact, and that they make the contact, and he just seems to, it's one of those red zone plays where you're watching and you're like, the scrimmage is just a complete mess, and then he just emerges and his yards, his burst, then goes on another 10-yard run. It's just awesome to watch. But he was the difference in overtime, Javonte.
He was fantastic, and Dak found George Pickens a little bit, but the utilisation of CD and Jake Ferguson as well was good yesterday, and yeah. I think both teams looked really good going forward. I think probably more worryingly defensive, they looked really, really poor, but it made for a great game. And obviously for a divisional game, that's all you can ask for if you're not sort of in the division or you're not supporting one of the teams. It's just a spectacle like that. I think the Giants were unlucky to go 0-2 last night. Hopefully they can pick it up. But yeah, Dallas on the board. You've got to say, overtime, they held the nerve.
I've got 2 points on that just very quickly. One, Malik Neighbours putting the league on notice and reminding everyone that LSU wide receivers are goated. He looks unstoppable. What a weapon that the Giants have got. And then on the flips, another point on the Giants, Russell Wilson kind of silencing the haters a little bit, saying, no, step off Jackson Dart, sit in the back seat a little longer, fella. I'm here to stay. So probably bought himself a couple of weeks there, but yeah, real shame with the overtime pick. Other than that, Russ looked a vast improvement on the previous week.
Rounding out the Sunday slate then, Vikings 6, Falcons 22. Look, I didn't know it was possible for a QB to score less than Joe Burrow in fantasy this week, but JJ McCarthy had other ideas. He's entered the chat with under 3 points. Now, he was on my bench. It didn't really matter to me. My week was doomed anyway, but that Vikings side not connecting, Justin Jefferson, no touchdowns again. He is officially now on my trade block. That is how much I've lost faith in this Vikings side. I think I can shop around and probably get some good value for JJ elsewhere. Look, it's early days in the season, but that was not a promising performance for the Vikings there. Looking ahead to Monday Night Football, 2 games tonight, one after the other. Starting off with the Bucs at the Texans. The Texans are actually the only team this season in the NFL without a touchdown, so a lot to prove there. And then following on from that, the Chargers at the Raiders. Boys, do you think you'll be staying up till 3 a.m. to watch that one?
Absolutely not. I'm knackered from Thursday, to be perfectly honest with you. I think this is a really intriguing game, that first slot, the Bucs and the Texans. Bucs, the real juxtaposition on the sort of tempo that they play with at the minute. Bucs showing actually the fastest tempo, 25.1 seconds per snap, which is the 4th quickest in the league. Just gives them that sort of big play edge over the Texans and a couple of other teams in the league at the moment. And then, counter that with the Texans really struggling just to be efficient, whether that's Stroud, whether that's D'Amico making the play calls. Currently have which is a really worrying stat for Houston fans, minus 0.13 expected points added per play statistic, just a 37% success rate. So they just need a massive turnaround on sort of their pace when they're on the ball, ability to just make those explosive plays and make something happen. But we need to see a turnaround from, I think you were saying it for your fantasy, Matt, but Nico Collins, he needs to fire, right? He needs to get going.
Yeah, he was poor in week 1, but the Texans didn't help themselves in week 1. It's just penalties. I think they've committed 11 on offense already in 1 week, which is crazy. I don't know whether it's scheme, whether it's confidence. Obviously, they're going to have to go into the Buccaneers game and change that. Nico Collins needs to perform because the Buccaneers look like they're firing. Baker's playing well. They've got Egbuka, Bucky, K-Dot, and hopefully Mike Evans as well can sort of bring back some form. So, the Texans look shaky. Obviously, looks like Joe Mixon news isn't good as well. So, they've got a lot to do, the Texans. They just need to, obviously stop killing themselves with penalties, get the main players involved, and CJ's got a lot of work to do to get the win tonight. But again, that's not a team that wants to go 0-2.
Especially not in that division as well. Look at the Colts, the Colts are firing. You'd argue
you wouldn't have thought you'd be saying that at the start of the season.
Crazy.
Look at the Colts.
Comeback player of the year, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, the bookies' favourites at the start of the year were the Texans to win the division. I'm not being funny. At the minute, you'd probably have them 4th. You really would, The Jags only narrowly lost to the to the Bengals, and yeah, the Colts are just firing. So it's really interesting at the minute.
What's scary about the Texans side and Joe Mixon, like you said, Smells, is that all the guys came out this weekend talking in their press conference. They were talking about Mixon in the past tense. So there's something going on there where he might be cooked for the rest of the season. Like he could be done. Put him on IR on your fantasy bench. Don't let him go away. But I mean, I don't see him coming back for the rest of the season personally. But no, that is all we've got time for on the Early Hours podcast this week. Tune in on Thursday's episode to get our Monday review, as well as some insight on if Justin Jefferson was able to be traded from my fantasy team. I'll see you then.